Hello, Dr. Walls. I just want to take a moment to go over the course reflection of writing literacy and technology and kind of show how my literacy through this class has changed from a very narrow understanding in reading and writing and has gone and expanded into this wide range of including all technologies such as computers, web cameras, videos and editing, tablets, mouse and keyboard. All these aspects now are included in my literacy, and they all go to show how I socially interact, how I use these technologies in my everyday life, and opposed to before where I would never think about these technologies as literacy. So I just want to talk about that. What I'll talk about is how I use technologies differently versus someone else. Barton calls this that he says that people use different technologies in different domains, and where I would use technology, social media interactions, file sharing for my major, technical communication, to share documents with people, to interact, to chat, to organize meetings, to communicate and organize things. Whereas my friend Dan, who's an animation major, would use technologies to shoot clips. He would video edit. He would use his computer to go on and edit clips of videos. So the difference is I now see these because we talk about how technologies define our literacy, and it's interesting to find this out, that how two different people would use technologies very differently because of their different audiences. Barron even says that technology channels what we do. We focus on our readers, and we use them as writers for different things. I would use technology, Google Docs, to share documents. I would organize things, put them together, and send them places as communication, as structures to define things. Where Dan does his in a completely different way. He does his animation for entertainment. He defines his audience want to be excited. They want to be thrilled. They want to be wooed. They want to tear up, cry, laugh, through his aspects. But they don't want the business side, which I have. So it's very interesting to know how we define ourselves in different technologies. How I define me, and how Dan defines his on his technology. The next thing I want to talk about comes from the video, The Evolution of Remix Culture, from the user Normative, on how technology has become so accessible and easy to use and inexpensive for people, to the point that where anywhere we go we can socially interact. Where I can use my phone, go out in the middle of the woods, and as long as I have signal, I can text somebody, I can make a Facebook post, I can take a picture of something and upload it, and it's just so interesting to be able to do these things now. It's like, as in the other video by Amber Case through TED, how we talk about we're cyborgs, how we use these technologies as a way to interact with our environment, how we take these things and they change us. How, instead of interacting with somebody socially now, we can be completely somewhere else and still be interacting with that person. You could go on a cruise with your family and still basically be hanging out with your friends because you have your phone, because you guys can chat. You can set up videos. You guys can play video games online. How I used to play a video game called League of Legends. We actually talked about it in the class on video games with my friends. We would all get our headsets on, and we would set up Skype. We would all chat, be in a bunch of different places. We'd all be all across campus from where we lived, but we'd be able to interact. We'd be able to play. And it's just how understanding this as that it's a literacy, how it's a technology that we use to interact, is a wonderful thing. It's how that now I know that when I use video, when I do things, that culture has changed me. Before, we would have to be in close proximity to be able to do these things. But now that we make access to technology, our social interaction has changed. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is the generation gap between learning these new technologies, about how kids nowadays are growing up with even more advanced devices than I grew up. how their kids younger and younger are getting tablets in their hands. They're getting computers. They're getting access to internet and phones. And it's interesting though, as I work at a summer camp, and one weekend I was working, I was walking up to the office, and I noticed these kids had their tablets because it was a parent kid weekend, and they had their tablets and they're all playing games. And it was funny how they were saying they were trying to sit close to the office because they were trying to get access to the Wi-Fi. And in this moment, I thought, that's odd. It's because I remember when I was younger, I didn't have Wi-Fi. I didn't know what this was. When I wanted to use the computer, the internet, I had to go to the family computer. You know, my entire family used one computer. We had one access to internet. And it's so interesting to be able to know that, you know, in 10 years, 10, 20 years, we've evolved so much that how, you know, internet is accessible. It's so easy to go online. And I think that's why in Barron, when he talks about how the guy Bill Henderson doesn't like computers, how he talks about how there's this like almost backlash to technology, I think it's because we feel threatened as older adults to these kids who are learning technologies faster. You know, it was in the Digital Natives article. Who was this by? By Beth Hertz. How these kids are getting, you know, we can put the tablet in, you know, kids' hands and they'll be able to learn it. They'll be able to learn this technology. And it's so interesting because it reflects onto me, how seeing these kids are going to be able to outknow me in technology, how I have to stay updated into technology moving forward into my future. Once I get a profession, I have to learn these technologies faster. I have to expand my knowledge to know them so that I don't get outclassed, as you will.